You're a celebrity power couple, and there are a lot of insights we are hoping to gain from you this afternoon. Being in the media eye and then being not in the media eye, how do you balance this art and fashion and furniture and then being out there as much? How do you balance your relationship and support each other in each other's goals, personal goals?
Firstly, I'd like to apologize. I'm a very punctual person. It just so happened that with all the road diversions that are taking place due to making Mumbai a better city, we got a little late. Really apologies. We're not usual late Latifs. Thanks, Aanchal and Vishal. That was a great introduction. I'm very humbled. Firstly, thank you for thinking about us. I think we go beyond just being friends. I think we, like what we both do, appreciate what we both do. I think being good, kind, humble human beings is our first mission in life, our first purpose and goal in life. And I've really never been in the eye of media. I'm still called Malaika when my name is Malaika. And I'm kind of like the being unknown still, right? I mean, what's in a name? But yeah, I still can walk around and no one recognizes me, and I love that. So I do have a lot of my privacy. Yeah, so I think it's quite easy. You have a choice whether you want to be in the eye of the storm, media, however you want to name it, or you can still have your privacy because there's a thin line, right, between how much you want to share of your life and how much you're okay and willing to let people know. And I think we as humans, I think all of us are capable of doing it. There's nothing special about it, or there's no textbook or no kind of, oh, I've got it all right. I'm still learning. I make my mistakes. And, there's fun about everything. I mean, all of us are celebrities in our own rights, right? So, yeah.
I think you're making it sound a lot less effort than it really is, because it is a lot of effort. It is a lot of effort to be a power couple like this and still have your own space and still, really support each other. So
I'm humbled.
You are
Well,
very much.
Firstly, thank you, Vishal. Thank you, Aanchal. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's a real honor and a pleasure to be here. International Women's Day, so we were just having some chitter-chatter on the way to the elevator, Vishal and me. And we said, do we still live in a 50-50 world where, it's husband 50 and wife 50? Or is it 60-40? I said, man, after kids, even if it's 90-10, it's really good. Because quite honestly, I think one of the most important things which I think women are not given enough credit for is something called domestic energy. Okay? And
True.
I can tell you that if the house and the soul and the heart of the household is not in its right place, I don't think any of us have the guts to go and achieve anything we want out there in the real world. So I want to thank my wife for tolerating me because, it's a bit of a paradox actually to be in show business and at the same time not be ostentatious, You have to, be in the limelight. You have to, walk with panache. You've got to talk with confidence. You've got to know your stuff. But at the same time, that's the vulnerability that you're always protecting when you're outside. And it's all right to be vulnerable. It's all right to learn. It's all right to make mistakes. I think Mali and me, we were on our way here. And I was reading through what Aanchal had so sweetly written, 30 years. I was like, Mali, I don't feel that old, man. 30 years, it's just blink of an eye and it's just passed. And of course, there have been many speed breakers. And I think that's the lovely stuff of life, the fact that you do have your arguments, you do have your disagreements. And at the same time, we sort of realize that we are a team. And, there are certain verticals that I'm very good at, and there are certain verticals she's very good at, and we're just great sounding boards of each other. So thank you for tolerating me, Malaika. I mean,
And thank you for saving yourselves, because when he said 30 years, I started looking at myself in my little mirror and I said, is it time for Botox? Is it time for fillers? And he's like,
Not at all.
Myla.
Not on you.
I would detest that. Not that I have any issue with it, but
You
you don't.
saved
need to-
Almost don't
yourself.
recognize half the celebrities and their recent pictures vis-a-vis what they used to look earlier. I had this
Sorry.
questionnaire
Yeah.
prepared. I'm going to put it away because I'm really enjoying this and we are just going to go as it goes. Childhood sweethearts almost. From a relationship perspective, a partnership perspective, I hate to say the word relationship and more partnership, how have you guys kept it together for so many years? And how have you kept the spark alive? The
You know,
romance,
before
the
he
love?
starts talking over me, I'd just like to say,
Sure.
I think what's most important in any relationship is, and I tell people this, and correct me if I'm wrong, you know, when we use the quote, love at first sight, right?
Yes.
I think it's just not about your spouse, your lover, your partner. I think it's about your friends, your chosen family. I mean, I think what love at first sight meant is that, you know, that feeling you get in your stomach, it's not about butterflies. It's about feeling comfort. It's about feeling joy. It's about feeling happiness. And, you know, somewhere where you know that, you know, here's somewhere I can just be myself. And, you know, here's someone who's my mirror. Here's someone who checks me, who, you know, is there when I'm down and out. You know, we all are, you know, talking about mental health and now we're addressing it. So I think somewhere, I always tell this to my younger friends, and you know, today I'm known in my group, I have friends who are over 50, some of them, and they say, you know, Malaika, you're this little old soul. They call me Dadi Ma, by the way, because, you know, and that's what I tell people, that, you know, find someone, you know, it's not about butterflies in your stomach. It's about someone you just want to go, phew, finally.
I can be myself.
I don't know about you, but I got butterflies in my stomach when I saw her.
Love it.
She just ignored me for the first couple of days. But when I really, contrary to the belief of love at first sight, all my sisters had like love marriages and they used to be on these phone calls for hours. And I promised myself, I said, I'm never going to fall in love because it's just too much effort. And before you know it, I was at Cody and I see this lady, right, you know, her back is towards me and she had lovely brown hair. And I was listening to a song called You Too, where the streets have no name. And when she turned, it was like a Halo shampoo ad, you know, for me at least. And I mean, I was zapped. I just felt that, you know, that's the girl, man. That's the girl
Amazing.
I feel I can visualize myself be with for the rest of my life. And I had no idea who she was. I nudged a friend of mine. I said, hey, buddy, who is she? And he looks at me, he's like, don't forget it. She's dating somebody. I said, I didn't ask you whether she's dating somebody. I said, who is she? You know? So then he goes, okay, she's Malaika, this and that. So yeah, for me, it was definitely, I have to say, very, very hard to get your attention. I had to like, you know, I'll tell you a very interesting story, a very, very interesting story. So by the fourth time of trying to propose to her, I had almost given up. And I had kind of told a friend of mine who was a common friend, I said, can you introduce us, you know, in some sort of way? Because probably I don't have the courage enough, or she's not, you know, giving me the vibe, or she's giving me the vibe, but then, you know, women, you can't really get them all the time, what vibes they're giving. So we both were in environmental science class, and she was, I was like in environmental science class, and, you know, I was walking towards environmental science class, and she says hi to me, and I just freeze, because I'm thinking, did she say hi to me, or did she say hi to somebody behind me? So like I looked behind, and There was nobody behind. I was like, shit. I was like, she said hi to me. Now she's coming out of class and I'm going into that class and I'm doodling away thinking, I'm just telling myself, man, such an idiot, such an idiot, such an idiot. And then all of a sudden somebody knocks on the door and this friend of hers, I didn't know that it was a friend of hers, called Ayaka. She says, oh, there's a phone call for Zayed from his father in the principal's office. At that time, of course, we didn't have mobile phones. So I literally came out of class and there was a shoe flower and I did like a Shah Rukh Khan to myself, you know, like I picked up that shoe flower and I said, she loves me not. She loves me not. And I'm walking towards this principal's office and then I hear a voice. And she says, hi. And I look and it's her and she's sitting like a boss lady, you know, like literally like a boss lady. She's sitting out there and I said, hi. She's like, what are you doing? I said, I just have a phone call from my father. I'm going to take it and I'm going to come back immediately. She's like, no, that wasn't your father. That was me. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, baby.
Whoa. Now, you know, that's the kind of lady I want to be with. You know, that's the kind of girl I want to be with. So, yeah, that happened. And I think quite an interesting journey, like, kind of took place post that.
Time to make a movie on it.
Last thing left.
I love the way you keep referring to her as lady. That's also so rare. But I met Mali for the first time very recently, a couple of months ago, and I think the first thing that hit me about her was her inane spirituality and everything that you can just tell from energy when you meet someone. And do you think she's been that for you, your strong anchor, your coming home to somebody more grounded, or?
I might just look tough, but she's actually the tough one.
Oh, okay.
She's like emotionally extremely strong, and I think you know, that's so important in this world that we live in, because I mean, considering you're an actor, you know, you don't really have a 9-to-5 job and your job is chemistry. To marry a lady who's got that kind of emotional strength and security makes me feel quite I would say I'm deeply touched that I've felt that I deserve this kind of love. And
So
there are
beautiful.
times then, you know, where you face so many things on a day-to-day level. There are a lot of lovers, there are a lot of haters. You know, your family is constantly, you know, viewing things that are being said about you. Probably people don't know all of the truth, but when I come home, she looks at me and I know everything is going to be all right. And she gives me that kind of support where it's like, man, it's untold, you know, there's no word for it. It's just, it makes me want to wake up every day in the morning and love her more and love my children more and go and do things that make us happy as a family, as a unit. And sometimes I'll fail, sometimes I'll succeed. And it doesn't matter because, you know, failure and success are temporary. What matters is the moment and how that moment is played out, you know, and how strong you have to be to deal with such moments. So, you know, we don't actually talk like this in front of each other. So she's might be finding a. You know,
Yeah, I'm
like,
actually laughing inside. That's right.
So it's really weird to like say these things.
See, this is why I'm a good relationship coach.
If you want Zayed to confess anything now, so that.
Not to undermine, you know, heart and the wonderful people that we are, but Mali, for you, Zayed is an extremely good-looking man and out in the media, out in the world. How do you deal with, let's say, advances from women, people hitting
I
on...
thought I was good looking too.
That's why I said this is not in any way, I made my disclaimer very clear first.
No, I think Aanchal, right? Don't we tell everyone beauty is what beauty does? So, I mean, how do you know, I'm very bad, my Hindi is very bad, but, you know, the aina bhi jhoot bol sakta hai.
Yeah, right,
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beauty
So
lies in the eye of the beholder.
absolutely. And I feel with Zayed, no one knows him better than me.
Okay.
No, I can't.
The truth is that as an actor, your profession is about like, making truth lies, right?
True.
It's like almost what a lawyer does also sometimes
True.
in a courtroom. But there are some people you just can't, kind of lie to, and when she catches my lie, I just start smiling, and I start smiling and lying because,
Does that make everything okay?
And I'll tell you something,
Does it
Aanchal.
make everything okay when
nothing,
he smiles?
nothing gets
Nothing is ever okay.
high command.
I think, Aanchal, since you are a life coach, I mean, you must have read somewhere that, when you lie, your nose kind of flutters.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes,
Twitches, and the corners of your mouth kind of make a certain, and you just know it. So next time, guys, that's where you look at. Not what's coming out of the mouth, but the expressions on the face. Yeah.
So it just tells us a lot about you and how smart you are as a woman. Explains a lot.
Emotional
of your dynamics.
intelligence.
Emotional
I
intelligence.
can still get away with it. Just say it's acting.
Vishal, I could, but I won't.
30 saal baad?
That's-
I wouldn't want to.
baad?
But you still have that advantage.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about it in terms of advantage.
Yeah.
This side has no advantage.
It's better that way because there's more peace at home. Sometimes you just have to listen. You just have to keep quiet and listen. And even though you feel that you are right, you just at that time keep your mouth shut. And strangely, God will be with you because it'll all turn out right at the end. So these are things that I don't think anybody can teach. You just experience it along the life.
You guys have hacked this very well. We have only one-sided conversations. So clearly you're doing something right.
Yeah. I think we're just very honest people, aren't we?
True,
Yeah.
true,
Yeah.
true, true. So also social media plays a very, not plays a role, but I think takes a toll on relationships. Hugely. Not just as celebrity couples, but even, day-to-day couples. And what's your advice to people? There's this whole chitter-chatter and conversation about how much is too much when you're liking random women and men's pictures, or you have unnecessary DMs, you just respond. Where do we draw the lines? What is okay? What is not okay? What is your advice to couples out there for this?
Firstly, get a private account so you can filter who you want on your account and
Correct.
not. And I don't have that problem because I barely follow any celebrity. My choice of social media is most of the times mentors, life coaches, right? I really have no idea what. I love Shah Rukh Khan because he's a dear friend of Zayed's, but I have really no idea what he does day to day. Nor do I know what any celebrity is doing because that's their personal choice, that's their personal life. The lesser you watch somebody else, the better you will feel. There's lots more on social media to see, more things that can better your self, mental health, your everything. I mean, in life, I think you don't need to follow people. Follow a dream, follow yourself. I follow a lot of, because I'm into the world of interiors and furniture, I watch other people's curations, and that's what I'm engaging myself in, not so-called people who are just famous because they're Bollywood or they're Hollywood. They also have their mistakes, and behind their closed doors, no one really knows what they're going through. So don't fall for everything. Follow yourself.
So beautifully said.
Well, I have to say, I definitely agree with Mali on a lot of levels. But there are two sides to this coin. Firstly, there was a time where the media used to be outside the room. Now the media is in the room.
True.
You can go to any, event or a party or, casual, birthday at a friend's house, and you might be caught at an awkward moment and somebody's just taking a picture of you, and the next thing you know, you're completely exposed. So it's imperative that one must understand the negatives and the advantages of social media. Um, Firstly, I find it incredibly
Invasive.
no, I find it incredibly insensitive when people try to validate themselves over their social media account, that how great I am and look what I'm doing, look where I am, look what I bought, look where, what holiday I'm on. There are a lot of people out there who are basically chasing it and can't afford it. And they are so hooked on to the dopamine of likes, the endorphins that release when you see likes, that they go broke trying to make a social media lifestyle for themselves, which is not really organic in any way whatsoever. So it can destroy you. My thing with Mali is, I've always told my family, and we've always been a family that has understood values, like my kid Aris, for instance. He plays basketball with a very good coach who's an NBA coach. At the same time, I make him go play basketball at the BMC with all the BMC kids, and he goes and takes coaching from the BMC kids coach as well. And I tell him, I said, Aris, the spectrum of society is, one must understand how to be with the least common denominator in the most beautiful and sensitive way, and sit with kings and queens and dine with them and be your eloquent self at the same time. There should be no difference in who you are and how you perceive that. So how we post, I'm not a very big poster. I often try to post milestone events of my life, like something that's deeply moved me, or I've been in a moment where it's just been splendid. It's been such an amazing moment. It's been like a eureka moment for me. Or sometimes, there will be, silly moments where old friends have come and, we've cuddled together and we've said something silly and, we made a moment out of it. But, being ostentatious about showing your wealth and, trying to prove to everybody this facade that really doesn't exist is honestly quite, it can be quite self-destructive.
True.
So my advice to my family is, refrain from such things, and always, be happy for what you have, and pray for courage to face another day, and be cool, but don't be snobbish. Do not, there are a lot of people out there that don't have a lot of what we don't have. And we must understand that sensitivity, that humanity must be installed into them. See, quite honestly, Aanchal, I'll tell you something. I don't think any one of us in this room knows what the future is right now. None of us, not even professors, not even like scientists, they all are guessing, because AI is coming and it's going to change the world. But nobody knows how. And the world is changing so fast that you'll be surprised. So my question to my child is, I don't ask him, what do you want to be when you grow up and what do you want to do when you grow up? I say to them, you are experiencing life right now. If there's one thing you want to change to make your future better, what would that be? And now's the time to make amends with it. So definitely having a skill, whether it's music, whether it's sport, whether it's, mathematical, whatever it is very important, because going forward, it's going to be tough. And there was first a race of Ivy League students. Now it doesn't even matter whether you're an Ivy League student or not, because even if you don't know encryption and you have a good imagination, you're just going to have to tell AI what your video game look like, and it's going to make it.
Yeah.
So we are entering a brave new world, and I encourage them. So coming back to social media, I think Yeah, we are very conservative about how we handle social media. And while I love my media friends, they are,
Yeah,
they
this
are,
has got,
They're on
yeah,
you.
absolutely.
they are absolutely lovely. But of course, there has to be some distance
Yeah.
for sanity.
I mean, it's as simple, right? Well, she's an acquaintance. The other day it was her birthday, and I don't think it's important to constantly wish people on their birthday through
fully agree
Insta,
with you.
right? And she basically, I mean, I think it's so shallow, but she actually wrote back to me, "Oh, you didn't post for me for my birthday." And I said, "Are you serious?" And guess what I did? I sent her a message back. Now I'm going to unfollow you.
Now that's why I love you so much, Mali. You know, she's the principal of a school, honestly. So always like
I see
checking
what he
you.
means when he says you're the stronger one. I have to say that that was very, very beautifully articulated and very well explained. And I have known a little bit of the two of you, and I know that you're wonderful people, but I am also actually a little taken aback by how grounded and how mature the two of you are in terms of your own relationship with your family, with your children. And I think there's a lot for all of us to take home from here, from this. Zayed, you've grown up with incredibly strong women at home, mom and three sisters. Do you think you have an advantage over other men in terms of
Absolutely.
and what your upbringing has been?
I mean, see, it's pretty simple. So I was about like 11 years old when my father had his fire accident, and I saw when I entered the hospital, I saw this man was completely black. His face was like a football, and he just looked at me and he said, "Zayed," and I didn't recognize him, and he said, "Am I looking that bad?" I didn't know what to say. I was 11 years old, and I kind of thought somebody was trying to fool me. Um, the way I saw my mother and my three sisters take over that moment, and with my father's fighting spirit, that he's such a tough nut, and I think all the guys in that generation they are built of different metal than us, I have to say. Um, I really saw a miracle at work. How my sisters and my mother constantly shuffled between, taking cabs or making sure that, they could like come and be next to him, and financial issues and a lot of things. And at that time, my mother decided that I had to be sent to boarding school, and she was like, "You'll be okay." And I mean, I was like, that's the least I could do, And even if I wasn't okay, I was just going to keep my mouth shut and say I was okay. But I loved boarding school one way or the other. So I saw the power of women, and I saw how their nest matters. So for me, I've seen all my sisters, my mother included, in their tiger avatar, and I had to marry one as well.
I was just coming to that.
I think one of the best parts about it is that, it takes one to know one. So
Correct.
when Malik came into the nest, uh, my sisters fell in love with her.
Right.
And I think that was like, phew, like a big thing, because, we all also used to seeing Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi type kind of TV serials, and, there's, a family can be broken apart by women. Women are the glue, they are the soul, they're the heart. We are just the armor and the shield that goes out there. So it's important that we don't just superficially like celebrate women. We should hold women in great stead, because at the end of the day, they have your back like nobody else.
Very, very beautiful. If I'm reading between the lines a little bit here, I also think that that is the reason why you've inherently chosen someone like Mali, because it takes a lot of groundedness, it takes a lot of maturity and understanding to choose the right partner to choose someone who's, and especially in your environment where you're surrounded by that much vanity and I won't say frivolousness, but a lot of it, to to really find to pick a partner who's that strong, that grounded, and to make it work. Mali, what do you think about this?
Firstly, I think where my sister-in-laws and I get along is that none of us can cook.
Neither can I. So I'm doing something right.
Yeah, so I mean, but we're great homemakers. We do amazing work at our workforce. We're teams. You know what? What's beautiful and special about my sister-in-laws is, and more than anything, my mom-in-law firstly, she can treat a sheikha the same way she can treat a lady at the Shanti. And that is something I admire about her with so much grace, because I've seen her so many times. And you know, if you've gone through her cookbook, Family Secrets, Aanchal, there are recipes in there which she's named after some of the staff. So maybe like the massage wali, who she's allowed to go into her kitchen and say, aaj tum banao kuch, you know, it's like that. And then in her book, it'll be Zulekha Bengan.
How sweet.
You know what I mean? And she'll have Pratima's biryani. And Pratima auntie, please.
Yeah.
Pratibha aunties.
So-
You know what I mean? No, you can.
Well, I love cooking, so it's okay. We don't mind. In fact, I'll tell you a really funny story. So every time the ladies of the house, when they talk about fashion and jewelry, and you know, so my father used
But
to.
we are not that way, no?
No. But sometimes you know you can be a woman. It's all right. It's allowed. So my father used to take me to the kitchen. He said, "Come on, let's go cook." So we used to go down to the kitchen, and I used to see how, you know, he used to do things. So I took up after him, and I cooked like about 2 meals a week, every week, for my family. And you know what I noticed is that because we are very privileged to live in a place like India, because we have a lot of house help and we have a lot of staff. But what happens is some of the chores that you are meant to do as a family, it gets lost in that. So sometimes these are great bonding moments, you know. Ariz, go pick the peas. We're going to make a salad. Zidan, you know, come on, let's needle some dough. We're going to make some pizzas. Mali, she'll only come in the kitchen if it's smelling all right, otherwise she won't. Okay. But she makes great tea.
And I bake.
And yeah, you bake cakes. Sorry. Yeah. The ones with the ones that are already half made. Yeah, she does it really well though.
No, I do bake.
It's a joke that Vishal has. He says, we have a global cook in our house, and that's Swiggy. I mean, he doesn't expect anything from me when it comes to cooking.
Oh, you're so lucky.
But I have to tell you, if you're doing that, you should stop, because having different oils every day will kill you. Because every restaurant uses a different oil. So it's all about your gut health, right? Your gut has to be really healthy. If your gut is healthy, you're like steel. And that's why they say have seasonal fruits and vegetables, because they will have the antibodies that protect you against the viruses during those seasons. You know, so you should definitely, you know, Swiggy once a week or twice a week. But home cooked food is where the strength is.
I have a
yeah.
suggestion, Vishal. Come and learn some tips from
Oh
Zayed.
yes,
do that,
come.
He's
That's a
brilliant.
great idea.
He's
I think we should totally do it.
I won't have any other place to stay in the house except that place.
Most welcome.
But,
I'll be constantly in the kitchen.
but having said that, I also have to say that apart from the fact that he's my husband today, he's also been a friend for many, many years. And he's seen my entire journey from college, because we were studying together. We studied MBA together, and my entire career graph, whatever, that's been through Arts in Motion. And he's been extremely supportive, even as a friend. And, you know, in moments when I've had like mental breakdowns or whatever, he's encouraged me, whether it's dance, whether even an event like this. So it takes a lot of strength and it takes a lot of confidence for a man to have that kind of, support for his women. And I think that's also what, how does that work out for you, for Mali, in her career and in her business? Are you a very active part of?
Firstly, I'm an extremely possessive husband. My antennas, whether I'm looking at her or not, it's like a 360-degree radar. I am always aware about what Mali is doing because I find her to be a wonderful person, a very, very heartful, very soulful person, and she's extremely creative. So there are times where I do tend to get on in her space, and that's when I realize that I'm doing something wrong, because creatively, it's very important. Besides giving each other space on a day-to-day basis too, when somebody is on a creative level, you should hold back your judgment because you're always looking at it from another person's from a very different eye. So and sometimes a new thing can click, something new that nobody has seen can click, and she's got immaculate taste. I tell her, I say, if your furniture is anything like the way you smell, it's going to be amazing because I love the way she smells. Okay, so
It's such an awe moment.
she's doing really good, and I tell her I totally with you. I support you, and you go make your mistakes because I don't think it's possible to do anything without making mistakes, and that's something that we don't look into in India enough. Making a mistake is considered a failure. Anywhere around the world, making a mistake is the first step towards success. So you will gradually come to that level where you will understand your mojo and you will understand the market. And there has to be a contingency program for that. So those are some verticals I am good at, and I extend my support to her. But other than that, I'm a sounding board, and sometimes she just tells me to shut up, I shut up.
That's untrue. I never told you to shut up.
Mali, in terms of creative partnership, and because you're a creative person as well,
Right.
are you also Zayed's best critic? Do you also give a lot of feedback in terms of his work, in terms of?
I think just not in terms of his work, but I think both of us are each other's sounding boards, yeah. Honestly, I think even though we are, in the same vicinity, we must be calling up each other every 20 minutes just to check in on each other, and it's got nothing. Have you had food? What are you doing now? Listen, I'm thinking I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and all. Yeah, Mala. Yeah, Mala, tell me, Mala.
Yeah, and inevitably, it'll always come at the time you're doing something very important,
But he sweetly
it's like-
picks up the
yeah,
phone,
but
which is so wonderful.
So yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, it's the little things in life that really are the glue to everything, and you should celebrate these things,
Yeah.
It's not about the perfections. I mean, it's like there's no finish line in the race to perfection. It's your imperfections that make you perfect finally. And that's a line I stole from F1, so I'm just gonna tell you that. So, but yeah, I mean, truth be told, it's important that you definitely get a very strong individual, honest perspective, because everybody, when you are associated with a project or you're associated, there's so many moving parts in that. And what tends to happen is you don't want to give the entire truth because so many other people will feel let down.
Correct.
Because of that. And I honestly feel it hurts the person more if you do not say it.
Correct.
So it's sort of a bittersweet symphony.
Correct.
And it's important that you have at least that one person that can say it's terrible,
Right.
and what the center is, Otherwise, you can constantly kick the can down the road and constantly rubber band yourself out, and then at some point it snaps, and then you get so kind of jostled by what's happening. You don't know your bearings, you don't know what left, right, center is, and that's when you go into midlife crisis and all of that. But I'll tell you guys, I mean, I've had my fair bit of issues. I've of course been a very party animal when I was in my heydays, and I used to, and it was, this is growing up, and you do make a lot of mistakes, and the whole idea is learning from them, and and when you have your children, you got to be such like examples in front of them. They sort of stir you towards the North Star, whether you like it or not. And I think, yeah, that's what we really focus on. We don't try to make things difficult. It's like I often tell Mali, I said, let's not try to complicate this program by trying to involve too many people into it, because then we lose out on the moments of having a good time and good conversation with people. And there's always obviously that stress of a lot of events to go to, a lot of people's birthdays, anniversaries, staycays, and destination weddings, and it's just not possible to do it all. So we very sincerely look at each other. We pick and choose, say, 3 or 4 events a month that we can go to, and humbly, regretfully apologize to even our best friends that we can't make it.
I'm very grateful you've conceded to my event. 3 or 4 in a month. I think I should consider myself lucky then.
You live a healthier life that way, basically. Otherwise, it's impossible, to maintain the balance. So you've got to, it's a stickler, no doubt, but, people will hate you for it. But, that's very temporary, you do well in something and everybody forgets everything, and then it's back to square one. So you've just got to go with your gut.
Amazing, amazing. Would it be okay if the audience, if anyone would like to ask you
sure,
a couple
sure,
of questions?
sure.
And before that, Vishal, what do you have to say about everything that we discussed?
We are cooking. Huh?
Any questions? From
Commonality, because the 20-minute thing also, I mean, it happens in the office.
Yeah.
2 cabins.
2 cabins, and every 5 minutes, it's like, okay, let's have chai, coffee together, or okay, what are you doing? And it's like, yes, Anshi, okay, Anshi. What
So
do
the
you want?
secret-
I actually want nothing. I never want anything. But it's just,
So I think the secret is finding your childhood sweetheart and getting married.
maybe.
Yeah,
Or
I
like
don't know.
you said, friendship, actually.
Friendship, yeah,
Friendship
best
is the
friends.
foundation of everything.
Everything,
And,
yeah.
And that's why I started with this, that why and how do you choose the partner that you
Yeah.
choose. So, yeah, but,
That's the way you all beautifully complement each other.
yeah,
I mean,
it's amazing.
Keeping the family grounded after the entire media exposure that the family had had,
Yeah.
it's a legacy. Sorry, keeping the entire family grounded, keeping that nest, the entire compactness, the bonding, and Sanjay Uncle Ji the legacy speaks for itself, and Zayed's carrying it forward, and you fitting into the family, taking it on, and it's just so beautifully bonding and blending even further, and the kids actually carrying that legacy, and Zayed instilling that into the kids.
Right.
I mean, it speaks a lot of, the way you're
Vishal,
compliment.
Volumes about
Vishal, Vishal, we dare not say that to our fathers, that we're trying to fill in their shoes, right? Because we'll fill our own shoes, because they are like very different people.
We don't.
And I have to say that my father goes back a very long way with Vishal's entire family, Mr. Kalantri, and I have to say so when I told him I'm coming here, he was very happy, that I'm going, and we are establishing this bridge again. So yeah, these things definitely are what wealth is all about, They say money talks but wealth whispers.
Correct.
Absolutely.
So that's the...
And finally, if you have wealth, money is just a derivation. I mean, it's what you built.
Money follows anything that's good.
Absolutely. But
It's like my dad always used to say, if you look up, you'll feel a lack. If you look downwards, you'll feel gratitude. And I think that is what has kept us grounded our entire life, that no matter what.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sangeeta wanted to ask a question. Can somebody help them with a mic? No, they have.
We can share this.
Hi, nice to see you guys after so long. So we've interviewed the family at large, as you know, Zayed. And I do remember you sharing a line with me that has stayed with me forever when we met at some random party in Jaipur. I don't think you were around that time, Madhu, but we were having dinner, and I told him I'm researching a novel called Bollywood on the Bend, so I need to understand this industry from a informal standpoint, not what you read in the media and everything. And Zayed said, where do you live? First of all, yeah, where do you live? I said, South Bombay. So he said, okay, can I tell you something about yourself? I said, what? He said, people where you live they know the stock market share prices, but they don't know the price of the egg on the plate, the egg that they're eating on the plate. And then subsequently, I joined Hello, and I ended up meeting his mom. And she told me how she healed your father through that terrible episode by always dressing up, looking like everything was hunky-dory, never letting him feel that he looked scary or he may never recover or he may have huge consequences to deal with. And I think your family that way is your wealth, because people like us who just come and interacted here and there have learned so much from interacting with your sisters, with your mom. We haven't spoken too much, Mala, but you know we did that big story with all the ladies of the house.
Yeah.
So my question is, your parents obviously had a blueprint when they were raising you, but now, like you're saying, with AI, with social media, children can access pornography, they can access anything that's happening. It could be war, could be very disturbing things. Where and how, as parents, have you all been able to figure out that blueprint? Like, how do you protect the children?
Making them aware that all this exists, and you have a choice, and you are too young, and there is a time, an age, and a definitive reason as to when you must watch this. Let alone pornography, I think anything in life, right? I think just letting them know there is a right time even to watch an adult film, for example. Is it really required for you to watch all this gory sex or whatever, violence? I mean, I think that's important to give them the knowledge, trying to keep them away from what's actually going on. You're making them, live in a little bubble, a cloud, which is one day going to burst, and it's going to hit them on their face really bad. So I think knowledge, awareness, and just say it like it is important. Because they're anyway going to hear it everywhere else. They just have to type in pornography, and there's a whole lot that everyone's talking about. 1 second.
Well, I think where Mali is trying to come from, and I agree with her very hard-hitting way, that's life. But the question is, of course, we do have parental control on a lot of things, number one. Number two, we have very open chats with them, that this exists. Now, you can be part of this, or you can do something great, and it's all about how you look at things. If you look at things in an ugly way, then you'll constantly look at it in an ugly way. But if you look at it in a beautiful way, then that same thing becomes very beautiful. So it's all about the approach. So I have to say, it's like no religion is bad. People are good and bad in every religion. So in the same way, they are going to, one way or the other, be there. Their friends are, but we sort of premeditate this, and I, especially with my sons, I give them a picture of what can be if you make these mistakes. And I'll give them a very real picture about it. And they start to visualize this, and then they realize, okay, I don't want to be part of this, yeah. Because I'll tell you, it's hard enough trying to be brave in this world and, have a clean slate. It's hard. And everybody's profiling, everybody's LinkedIning you, and, so the question is, today they live in a world, and I tell them, I say, if you put up anything digitally and you share with your friends, remember, Zidan, it's for life. Nobody can undo it. In fact, on another note, there are like a lot of companies that are basically getting into this, which they clean slate your entire digital footprint. But having said that, it's important to be very honest to them about it. And it's important to say that these things will be in the archives forever. And you cannot erase it. It's like when we were young, there are a lot of things that were brushed under the carpet and finished, done. Nobody knew where it went, and it was over. Today, they can't do that. They are actually in a very, very tight spot, man. I feel really bad for them. I feel that they are not in the best of times. I'll be very honest. Their mental health is very important to me and Malaika. So I make sure that we make sure. She does more than I do. She just gives them the eyes. I have to give them the conversation, And it's imperative that they understand the gravity of that mistake. And if they are going to do it, irrespective, you're going to have to be the parent at that point in time. Bail them out, come back, ask the mother to give them a slap on the face, and wake up from that moment and say, do you want to do that again? But yeah, for us it's one for all and all for one. But at the same time, it's imperative that we don't blindside them from what the world is. And touch wood, I feel that approach is working really well. And I don't like jinxing things, but my boys, they can hang around like naughty kids, but they exit when something that they don't want to be part of. And this is something that the school in which I have put my son has told me about my son, that's what we like about him. And I was very happy to know that because our conversations were working in that sense. So I think that's